Welcome back, everyone. This is Arafillin playing Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. And last time we went through the intro and did a little taste of the game's interface and combat system. Let's start with the actual plot here. We're coming into the town of Foresta. Have nice peaceful town music. Strange trees are growing in the local forest. Not sure what that's supposed to mean, but okay. Crystal of the Earth, which we're supposed to be looking for, is to the north in the Bone Dungeon. Naturally, that's the big scary skull we saw in the desert while scrolling the map around. You can hop across that log there to talk to this guy, who says he's turned into an old man. Okay. Everyone does seem to be awfully old. The monster can drain energy from a person. I'm really just a child. Okay, so we have some monster shenanigans going on here. Not surprising, this follows a fairly formulaic thing where you come to an area, there's bad stuff happening, you beat the boss, save the crystal, and things are fixed. You come down here into the water. There's really no point to it. As I recall, unlike in Final Fantasy IV, you won't find things in the water or grass or anywhere else. There's just there. If there was a character in the water, you'd be able to come in to talk to them, but there isn't. It's just part of the setting. If we come in here, obviously this hopping across there brings you somewhere. Here we have a metal chest, not a wooden chest. That means it has a special, unique item. This has the cure spell. Now if we come to spell here, we now have cure. It can spend 1 white point to cast cure, which of course is healing. Push that barrel out of the way, push this barrel out of the way. Again, we have a kind of Zelda-ish feel to some of the stuff where you can interact with the stuff more than in a typical JRPG. Kaeli can talk to the tree spirits. Whatever that means. You can go in this guy's bed, but it doesn't do anything. Yeah, there are beds you can rest in. That's evidently not one of them. Most towns, I think, will have an inn. I don't know if this one specifically does. And if you're tired, have a rest in that bed. There we go. And he does this nice stretch there. Kind of cartoonish, but I like how it makes him seem, more alive. Can you save all 4 crystals? Yeah, that sounds very video game. And it's also interesting. If you remember the title screen, there were 5 crystals. 4 of them lost their light and whatever, but there's also a 5th. So what's the deal with that? Yeah, we have Kaeli's house here, where we can get more cure potions. There's an X on the wall we cannot interact with. Again, unlike in Final Fantasy IV, etc., you won't find things in barrels and wherever else. It's in a chest, or it's not an item. My husband Mac forgot his captain cap. I hope nothing happens. So, of course, something happens. But anyway, here we have a distinctive-looking character. This will, of course, be Kaeli. Yep. There's a tree blocking the north exit of the lava forest. I can chop down the tree, but monsters have taken over the forest. I can't get to it. I can help with that. Come on, let's go. Don't you dare take Kaeli anywhere dangerous. Listen, Mom. That tree wither looks awful. How much the trees must be suffering. Okay, you win. So that's the entire purpose of that key item. Which you can't even avoid getting if you try, so why does it exist? Yeah. Don't worry, Mom. Anyway, she takes the axe off the wall, and there she has the axe. She has joined the party as a second member. That's what that thing on the side is for, that was blank before. Now we have Take Care. If I go into the menu now, item is still just item on this side. Spell, we now have spells on her side. She has the life spell, is another white magic. She has 3 white magic uses. Life spell, unsurprisingly, is a revive. I think you can also use it to heal. I'll have to try that out. Anyway, now that we have another character, this armor thing on the side does something. You see, she has a magic ring that has 3 defense, and I think that's immunity to silence. And relic armor, which has water water resistance, and I think that's petrify immunity. Pretty sure anything on the left is elements, anything on the right is status. The manual, as I recall, does tell you what the names of things are, but doesn't explain the icons, which is a decision. Not a very good one, but a decision. You can also see her weapon here. The axe has 16 attack, which is better than the steel sword at 12. You can check on the status. You'll see now it shows both characters' statistics. Weird thing here is elemental defense and special defense are showing incorrectly. I think what the game does is it uses the last character's stuff and doesn't properly initialize it. And I did, when I was playing around with, get up to the point where the next character joins, and the next character does have fire resist, and I think that's instant death immunity. So what I'm going to do is save here, reset the game. This little thing here. Again, the crystals bounce up. There are 5 of them. Pretty sure from left to right there's earth, water, and then on the right side, like winds and fire. And then there's the one in the middle. Anyway, if I load this back up and check in the menu now, her resistances are correct. Also, the stats seem to have changed. I'll have to recheck that to make sure. But I think it was using the stats from the other character's equipment also. Anyway, also in the customized menu, now that I have another character, this auto manual actually does something. It switches the control type for the other character between auto and manual. You can also do that with a Y button whenever you want. Basically, if it's set to auto, they'll act automatically if in combat. If it's set to manual, then you enter commands to them manually. Realistically, you should always be using manual, because, as usual, the ally AI is not terribly good. Anyway, she's chopped down the tree. Naturally, it's the one in front of the monster instead of the one that's not. And unlike with NPCs, you can't jump over monsters. If you try to, you just get in battle. So, if I recall correctly, she's strong enough to one-shot these. He is not. So, we'll spread their attacks out, and she missed, which didn't help. But yeah, you hurt them, their hat goes away, there's a little bandage on their head next to a mohawk. Brownie attacks with kick, critical hit. So have him attack that one again, have her attack that one. Yep, one shot. Punch. And spell, I think you can multi-target this also. Yeah, if you press down. You can target enemies as well by pressing up and then up again to multi-target. Kaeli goes first because she's level 3 and therefore faster. You can also see, because there are these extra thick bars below the main life bar, she has 3 times the health that he does. I'm pretty sure you get 1 per level. Does it say in here? No, you have to switch the thing. Yeah. 22 of 40, 104 out of 120. So just by merit of being 2 levels higher, she's a lot tougher than he is. I'm gonna come around here, fight some slimes. And I'm pretty sure these are the same deal as with the brownies, where she can one-shot them, he can't. I think the... Yeah, were they brownies, or am I thinking of a different monster? Either way. I think they're tougher, so focusing on them first. Yep, that's a one-shot. Weakened slimes look kind of squashed. Yeah, they can't even hurt Kaeli, really. Come to think of it, I'm not sure how the algorithms for this game work. Yeah, I'm pretty sure when you level up, your health increases, current health increases proportionally to the increase in your max health. Which means if you're at half health before leveling up, you're at half health after. But you'll have more health because your max went up. Okay, now he can one-shot those. Little fanfare there. Come through here. Here's another brownie. Pretty sure it's just brownies and slimes in the forest here. You have... The battle music isn't remarkable, but it's pretty good. And the game as a whole has pretty extensive use of electric guitar and drum kit and other, rock-style stuff, which is something you really didn't get in JRPGs up until this point. If you listen to any earlier game, like Final Fantasy IV, for instance, you get mostly orchestrated music. Which, nothing wrong with orchestral, but it's interesting that it feels like this game kind of gave them permission to experiment more with things, so you get into even Final Fantasy V, which is more or less the same time. You get a few things, it's mostly orchestrated, but you get a few things that are kind of more weird and experimental, like I think it's called Musica Machina, the one for the high-techy areas. And then you get to Final Fantasy VI, and suddenly you've got electric guitar and all the battle music, you've got heavy use of drums, you've got some wild-sounding things like Devil's Lab, I forget what it's called, but the music on the Floating Continent, the Atma Weapon battle music. Some of this stuff is pretty out there. Alright, if you hit X in this, instead of going to menu, you go to save. You have to press start to go to the menu. Or press X to go to the save menu and cancel out. Let's check this. Yeah, you can use life as a healing spell also. I'm not sure if it's a full heal or if it's based on your stats. But either way, you can heal with the life spell. It's a critical hit. Again, I'm not sure how the damage algorithms work for this game. Most games I play have a fairly decent idea of it, even if only because I looked it up. But heal potions. I think those were the status cures. Yeah, cure potions are definitely healing more than a fraction of that bar, so I'm thinking it's probably a fraction of your max health. I'm just going to leave and come back so the chest gets restored. Grab a few more potions out of that before going on to what is clearly the boss. And I think I'll start cutting out battles because there's really nothing interesting happening at this point. Okay, and the main character is now level 4. Yeah, that's another thing you may have noticed. He started at level 1, Kaeli started at level 3. He's now level 4 and she is still at level 3. Your partners do not gain experience in levels. Anyway, Evil Tree has that ominous glow around it. She thwacks it, it turns into a big cow man. Wahaha, surprise! Oh no! Kaeli's been poisoned, just like the trees. Spins around and kind of grabs dramatically, and it has absolutely no effect on combat. She's not even poisoned. Like, why? Anyway, definite gameplay story segregation there. I do like the boss music, though. It has the same kind of general feel as the battle music, but it's definitely more intense, it takes longer to loop. That's this nice interlude here. Let's see how the cure spell does when I actually need healing. Yeah, he's faster than her now. You get numbers when... Yeah, you see the actual numbers when you take and inflict damage and healing, rather than the graph value, even if you are on the graph. And it starts starting at low on health. You can see the horn's kind of broken off, the axe looks damaged, you get an angry expression. And there we go, that was the first boss. Not a big deal, but of course it is the first boss, so it's not going to be a big deal. But Kaeli's poisoned, and she'll be okay as soon as she takes Elixir. It's in the Sand Temple. Awfully convenient that everyone knows this. Take this axe with you. I now have Kaeli's axe. But I do not have Kaeli. However, We now have the axe as a field option. It can chop down trees. You can switch between weapons with L and R. So, yeah. There's the heal potions over there. I guess maybe the reason they didn't poison her in battle because you could heal that, and then she'd be healed of poison, and it wouldn't make sense to do the plot thing, kind of, but it doesn't make sense for her not to be poisoned in the first place, so yeah, I don't know. Yep, more healing potions. You can go around the monster. Yeah, I would have named the heal potions and the cure potions the other way around, because, like, to my mind, heal relates to health, as in hit points, whereas cure is in you cure a disease, so that's a status effect. Anyway, you can come back to Foresta. Although that does remind me, I don't know if this is true or how I would confirm it or anything else, but I've heard it rumored that the game was made by Squaresoft USA, so it would have been designed and written all in English. But I've heard the rumor that they then translated it all into Japanese for the main branch of Squaresoft to review. They did the review, made some revisions, and then translated that back into English, instead of revising the English script based on their comments. So sometimes you'll get some things that sound very translationese, even though this was not made in Japan. Which is... and that would explain it, but why would they do that? Just why? Okay, you do need to completely leave the area and come back in for the chest to refill. It's entirely possible that this is all one map internally, with just some empty space between them where you can't see it. That happens a lot in RPG Maker maps, for instance. Jump over here. Okay, you can switch weapons in. Oh, that's what it is. You can't switch while you're walking. You have to stop moving. But yeah, it's not there that you rest. It's this house over here. So if I come in here, I can get in the bed, heal up. That will also restore your magic. Is that overly dramatic stretching? Yeah, and come to think of it, yeah, more MP now have 6 white, 3 black, 1 wizard. That is one of the peculiarities of the game. It does not tell you what your maximum is for any of the magic points. The only way to be sure is to do something that heals it up, such as resting in bed. Now, later on, you do get items that can recover MP. They're relatively uncommon, hard to come by. Yeah, battlefields. This is a feature of the game, of a sort. On the map, you'll find these battlefields. They'll have multiple rounds. Basically, you fight here. You clear out enough fights, you get a prize. A lot of times, it's just extra experience on top of the extra experience from fighting the battles in the first place. Other times, you'll get something special. Anyway, Elixir Sand Temple. Here's the Sand Temple. Kind of reminds me of the Rosa thing in Final Fantasy IV, where she gets heat stroke and you need to go to the Antlion's Den to get an antidote for that, but we have this fancy unique chest and it is empty. And suddenly the music changes. I like this guy's music. I do not like this guy. He's just always rubbed me the wrong way. Looking for some cure, kid? My name is, and I'm looking for Elixir. I'll sell you some for 9,000 gold. Or GP. GP is not necessarily gold pieces, but what else would it be? That's way too much. And as usual, my allowance is only 2 G. And considering your village doesn't exist anymore, you're not even getting that. But yeah, as usual, when someone asks for an outrageous sum, it's as an excuse to have you do some kind of quest for them. In this case, he wants to go to the Bone Dungeon to get some treasure. We also want to go to the Bone Dungeon because of the Earth Crystal, but that's probably not even going to be brought up until we find it. But yeah, he wants a treasure. He's like, I get that. You get elixir. Everyone's happy. And at least your character has the sense to realize there's no choice. There's a battlefield nearby. Whack a few monsters, win something. Kid. Tristam joined. He's level 7. So that's a nice jump from Kaeli's level 3. He also has a life spell, which I guess they just put in as a safety for early on in case something happens to your main character. Your second character will revive them. Anyway, yeah, he has this black robe, which has that, I think, is instant death protection. He has a moon helm, which is fire resist. He has ninja stars, which can cause, I think that's poison and paralyze. Yeah, you'll notice the attack power on my weapons have also increased. That's because it is showing your total attack power, including your base strength. So it's not the weapon's attack, it's the total attack when you have that weapon on. Now still, axe, 4 more than the sword. The sword has no special traits, so the axe just completely outclasses it. There is no reason to use the steel sword ever again. Ninja Sword is stronger, but that could just be because Tristam is level 7 instead of level 4. And again, you'll notice on the status screen, it's showing Kaeli stuff instead of Tristram stuff. So if I go and save now, and load back up, well, for one thing, we've gone back to the standards temple music. For another thing, if I go into the status now, Tristam has his actual resistances instead of Kaeli's. So everything is as it should be. Does attack power go up? No. It's showing the 36 on the Ninja Star. It's showing 48 in here, so maybe it's that 36 is what I would have if I were using it? I'm not sure. There's some interface weirdness going on there. And anyway, as he mentioned, there's battlefields nearby. This, unsurprisingly, is the Bone Dungeon. That's the culmination of this section of the world. Let's do some battlefielding first. And here we have Mad Plants, which are obviously tree monsters. Tristam, of course, goes first. His Ninja Star kind of hurts. And the axe is considered a damage type. There are certain monsters that are weak against axes specifically, generally including trees. So that's another way the axe is better than the sword. The sword is not a special damage type. It will not... I mean, there's nothing weak against it, but there are things weak against axes, so... Like I said, axe... At this point, the axe completely outclasses the sword, and there is never a reason to use the sword again. Later on, you do get better swords that do have some kind of special property. I think they give you a speed bonus. And I'm pretty sure the last sword is actually the strongest weapon in the game. But for now, axe is definitely better than sword. Also, Tristam missed. Tristam got poisoned. Poisoned, unsurprisingly, does damage per round. You'll notice Tristam also has weapons that have a quantity to them. Poison Toad is strong against poison attack, which means it can't be poisoned. It did not mention being strong against paralyzed, though, which I'm pretty sure means it would have been paralyzed if the battle had kept going, but it didn't, it was dead. But yeah, Tristam is doing as much damage with an attack they're not weak against as I'm doing with an attack that they are weak against. And a little while later, this should be the last battle here. Yep, cleaned them out. And 54 experience as a bonus, so not much here, but that is a bonus level. Now it says already cleaned out, and there's just nothing there anymore. Even the icon on the map is broken. I think this one did have something. Let's see if there's different monsters. Yeah, we have a nice animated background even. But yeah, we have... It says on before you target, Basilisk, Poison Toad. Yep, he can one-shot the Basilisk. I can one-shot the Poison Toad, so that works out. I haven't even bothered to cure Tristram's poison. He has enough health, and battles are going by quickly enough that I shouldn't need to before it becomes a problem. And we're down to the last battle here. Yeah, as far as status effects go, I think the way it worked is if you have something that can cause multiple status effects, it will either attempt to cause status or not attempt to cause status at random. And if it attempts to cause status, it attempts to cause each of the statuses independently. Okay, 1 charm, so yeah, there is something here. Already cleaned out. I think that was armor. Yeah, it's 1 defense. It's nothing much, but it's better than nothing. Yeah, Tristam's looking pretty beat up. Well, Tristam especially. Our main character here also took some damage along the way. And basically all of that is from poison. Well, not that bad, but a lot of it is poison. The majority. I mean, obviously the monsters are doing attacks, and they do add up to some extent, but yeah, that's mostly from poison. Also, Tristram's out 30 plus ninja stars. You can replenish them. I think they come in chests like the cure potions. You just need to find a chest that has them. And there will, I'm pretty sure, be several of those in the upcoming dungeon. But let's save that for next time. For now, this has been Arafel playing Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Next time we're going to go into the Bone Dungeon, which has its own music. And it's a nice touch this game has. There is a lot of unique music as for different areas that are special. It's something that wasn't used as extensively as it should have been until later on in games. Like even like Link to the Past, for instance, you have Light World dungeon music, Dark World dungeon music, and that's it for dungeon musics. Even as early as the Game Boy games, like Link's Awakening, Oracle of Ages and Seasons, those have different musics for every dungeon. This does the same. All the major dungeons have their own music, which is nice. Anyway, for now this has been Arafel playing Final Fantasy Mixed Quests, and come back next time and we will head into the first real dungeon.